of love is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of love is in this place. Surely the presence of love is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of love is in this place. Good morning, you sound beautiful. We are going to sing I Am New Today. So feel free to sing with me. Stand as you are able. Yes. I am new today. I am new this moment, and I thank you, God, for everything behind me. I am new today. I am new today. I am new this moment, and I thank you, God, for everything before me. I am new today. I am new today. I am new this moment, and I thank you, God, for everything around me. I am today, and I thank you, God, for everything within me. I am new today. I am new today.
I like that song so much. What a beautiful way to begin. We see our longtime friends here. Judy and Michael are here. Nice to see you. Always connected, no matter where you go. We tend to be right here waiting for you when you come home. Nice to see our Sandy and the Yaws here this morning. Miss you when we don't see you often enough. Nice to see our friends, all our friends here. And nice to be together. More than nice to be together. It's an honor. It's a pleasure and it's an honor to be in a place where our highest aspiration is to see the God in one another, to see the divine presence in each other. Our highest aspiration is to see first within ourselves that that is the truth, and then to see it in one another. And when we come here, it's our reminding place, reminding, changing our mind into the awareness once again of what really matters in our lives. There are so many things we believe matter every day. There are so many things that take the foreground. But when we come here, my intention at least is that we would move into the background, that which is constant, that which is ever present, that which is the very foundation of being itself. If there was not that, none of the rest of it would matter, because we wouldn't be. We are vessels of divine presence, and the very cells and atoms of our being and all the spaces in between are that very essence, that very substance of the one presence and one power, everywhere present, but most especially right here where we are, in this breath, in this moment, in this place, or in any place you find yourself. To you who are online this morning, we welcome you in the warm and loving spirit of unity. We offer you, we extend to you our blessing, and we include you in the experience of this day. We have children in the youth ed room squealing, which is always in my mind a great thing. I love Unity Kids. I love having the opportunity to have Unity Kids in our spiritual home, and in all ways on this day we greet the presence of that which is good. When we celebrate together on Sunday morning, we affirm and reconfirm that we are one, we are in unity with all people and communities of faith throughout the world, with all expressions of life. We are one. In unity, we bless and embrace people of every race, culture, lifestyle, and creed. We honor and celebrate the many paths to God, the many names for God, and the many ways in which we experience God. And so it is that we say, there is but one presence and one power active in my life, God the good, omnipotent, all power. There is one presence and one power active in my life, God the good, omnipotent. Can we do it together? There is one presence and one power active in my life, God the good, omnipotent. I'm making loud noises to myself when I breathe. Ooh, better. Thank you. Ellen, the magic person behind the soundboard, controlling all things having to do with sound and light. Thank you, Jerry. I don't know what he does, but he just touches a lot of things, and things happen, and we're always really happy about that. Ward and Ireland, our music team extraordinaire, yay. So, we're so grateful for you. And Miss Beth, our daily word, please. Power.
Power.
It's about power.
Turn on the power. Oh, it went on.
Ta-da. Is it ready, Ellen?
It's blinking blue. Shall I shout?
Make sure you want line of shouting.
No, I know. Is it batteries or am I an idiot?
You are not an idiot.
No, I'm not.
No.
I've been known to say
Thank
that.
you,
My
Ellen.
granddaughter repeats it.
Uh-huh.
She is not an idiot.
Yeah.
Good morning, one and all. The daily word for January 22nd, 2023 is power. The affirmation, my thoughts and words reflect my divine inheritance. When I listen to my inner conversation and recurring thoughts, I may hear fear-based limiting talk, or I may hear positive words encouraging me to live joyfully and confidently. The choice is mine. Through my divine gift of power, I take command of my thoughts and my life. I release thoughts of powerlessness, and as I do, my negative self-talk diminishes. I affirm my divine inheritance of faith, wisdom, understanding, and strength with my thoughts and actions. The power to live a full life is mine. I embrace insights I've gained through experience. I own my mistakes without shame or embarrassment. I am eager to learn. I am willing to try new things and stretch myself. In power, I thrive. And from Proverbs, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits. And I have a little announcement. I noticed this morning that there's a stack of Steve Mason's CDs back there, and I have to tell you, they are in my favorites list. They really are fantastic. They're $15 each. Just leave your money in the basket and help yourself.
Yay. Thank you. We had a board meeting this week. Your board gathered and went about the business of things, and there are so many things going on. And the prayer team met this week and pumped up the prayer power through being together in the place where we invite you to be with us in prayer and to offer your prayer requests. If you have a need, a particular prayer need, or someone you know does, submit it online, info@unitysv, that's sv.org. Or if you're in the sanctuary this morning, leave it in the small brown box on the credenza, the prayer box. I think that box should be this big. I think the box is too small for the power that goes on as a result of the prayers you leave there. Wonderful things happen in and through our prayer ministry. One of the things that came up this week is next week is Potluck Sunday. Gail's been away basking in Palm Springs or thereabouts, and we'd like to have a potluck next Sunday, so bring something to share. And we eat immediately following the service. I didn't tell you what to bring and what not to bring. That's up to you. But if it's yummy, people really respond when you put your name on it. When you put your name on it, people are like, "Oh, I ate your chicken pot pie, Kathy," a couple of years ago. What an amazing thing that was. No, I mean, really. She said it would be the best one I'd ever eaten, and it really was. And I've never forgotten, obviously. Yeah, obviously. Anything else for announcing this morning? Anything I'm missing, overlooking? Yes.
The directory, we're in the final stages of it. If we have some change that needs to go to it, and I don't have anything for you two that's correct.
They just moved. They just moved. All right, so the long-rumored directory. There's been a murmuring in the background for a long time, and it's about to be born. And in the meantime, some people have moved, or some people didn't ever submit their information. So if you're one among us and you haven't yet, I'm looking at you, Bob, and you haven't given us information for the directory, we'd love to have it. And if anybody's been holding off from doing that, it would be a wonderful thing. Yes, Valerie?
And where do we send it to?
I don't know.
Tell me after church and I'll write it down. It's a deal.
Or see if there's, there should be forms as you come in the sanctuary. Otherwise, go to info.unitysv.org, the source of all things, and ask. Or just submit your info there. Info.unitysv.org, place of power. Stuff happens there and it goes out in all directions. I was going to try to do a class, just a brief class, and then discovered that the 4 weeks that I intended were not available for me to do for myself. So we have to wait for a little longer to start a new class with me. If anybody else has a class idea and you're ready to mobilize it, it's a good time. It's a great time, actually. If somebody wanted to create a wonderful learning experience for others for a few weeks, this is a great time to do it. It's an invitation. Those of you online, I don't know how you're going to work that out, but let me know. Morning. I think that's all of that. You think that's all of that? Ward, do you have anything? Ireland, do you have anything? Ireland's working in her own business. She's got a studio. She finished her cosmetology course and is doing...
Yeah, I'm doing aesthetics and Reiki out of the Carnation Building.
If you want to look like that, sound like that, be like that, you should book an appointment right away. Time is passing quickly. She's still painting. Wait until next week. Don't wait any longer. Our thoughts are prayers. Depends on how we look at that, what we're praying. And that's what it says. We're always praying. The question is, what are we praying? So let's sing together and then enter into a time of stillness.
Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Listen to what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer. We'll do it one more time. Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Listen to what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer.
What a lovely invitation to center ourselves in the realization of the truth of who we are and the truth about our lives. When we breathe together and allow ourselves for a moment to touch the inner truth of our being, we strengthen our ability to touch into that flow, into that wondrous energy of spirit more and more frequently. We're invited to move from the world around us to the worlds within worlds, within worlds, within us. the worlds within worlds, within worlds, within worlds, the realms of spirit within. As you breathe and allow your energy to come to rest. It takes just one small shift to move from being mind-centered into the experience of being spirit-centered. Just one breath and a shift. The things you've been thinking about, what it took you to be here, move gently away. And know that the mind continues its activity, but you are going deeper. You are bringing your attention away from the mind and going deeper, moving more deeply into the inner realms of your being. Again, focusing on the breath. Following the breath. Opening your hands. Softening your abdomen, your belly. And allowing your heart to open and drop into that open space. Attention wanders, but you've created the awareness of that still and always present opening into spirit. Loving Spirit, we come opening and releasing simply by opening and letting go. With willingness and that desire, that deep heart desire to experience more and more of your presence. We open. Again, deep breath. Spirit, guide me. I offer the opening for your guidance. I create this space for your still, small voice to be heard in me. And I know, as our teacher said, thou hearest me always. I listen. And when the time is right, I hear. I open to the gentle, constant presence of your love, Spirit. Move the obstacles that I might know I am free to be loved and to love. I'm open. I feel the touch of your life force energy flowing from the center of my being and from all directions, balancing and bringing forth that right and perfect order in my body, in my life, in my mind. In that spirit of opening, in that true state of willingness, I allow that pure life force energy to establish that state of wholeness in me, through me, and in all that I do, in those around me, in and through all aspects of my life. I affirm that wholeness, love, order, and light are everywhere present now. As I see inwardly, I see through anything that would deny that God is in charge, that good is everywhere present, and that all is well. In the true spirit of prayer, I remember that Spirit does all things. And so I give thanks. I give thanks. From the deep places of my being, I bow to the presence and power of the One. I give thanks. And so it is. Amen.
Yeah, buckle up. is just one presence, there is just one light, shining in the world like a beacon in the night. There is just one power we all can share, one great power everywhere. One great power, one great love, big as the ocean and the skies up above. One great spirit waiting in prayer, one great power everywhere. There is one great power everywhere. There is just one purpose, there is just one spark, burning in our souls like a candle in the dark. There is just one chorus we all can sing, with one great power let it ring. One great power, one great love, big as the ocean and the skies up above. One great spirit waiting in prayer, one great power everywhere. There is one great power everywhere. Let me hear you guys say, one great power, 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 one great power everywhere. Good job. There is just one presence, there is just one light, shining in the world like a beacon in the night. There is just one power we all can share, one great power everywhere. One great power, one great love, big as the ocean and the skies up above. One great spirit waiting in prayer, one great power everywhere. There is one great power everywhere. There is one great power everywhere.
Yay. Thank you.
I like the dancing.
Maybe. We never know what's going to happen here. Nice to see you. Margie, right? Yes. There's a story about a man with an inexplicable life. Inexplicable. I'm going to say it, I'll probably say it several times. It's not easier any time. Those words don't fall together well here. There was once a man who lived in a town where he had obtained a post as a small official, and it seemed likely that he would end his days as an inspector of weights and measures. One day, when he was walking through the gardens of an ancient building near his home, Kidr is a Persian god figure. Kidr, the mysterious guide of the Sufis, appeared to him, dressed in shimmering green. Kidr said, "Man of bright prospects, leave your work and meet me at the riverside in 3 days' time." And then he disappeared. The man went to his superior in trepidation and said that he had to leave. Everyone in the town soon heard of this, and they said, "Poor man, he's gone mad." But as there were many candidates for his job, they soon forgot him. On the appointed day, the man met Kidr, who said to him, "Tear your clothes and throw yourself into the stream. Perhaps someone will save you." He did so, even though he wondered if he were mad. Since he couldn't swim, he didn't drown, but he drifted a long way before a fisherman hauled him into the boat, saying, "You foolish man, the current is strong. What are you trying to do?" And the man said, "I don't really know." "You are mad," said the fisherman, "but I'll take you into my reed hut by the river yonder, and we shall see what can be done for you." When the fisherman discovered that the man was well spoken, he learned from him how to read and write, and in exchange the man was given food and helped the fisherman with his work. After a few months, Kidder again appeared. Watch out when you hear the voice. This time at the foot of the man's bed, and he said, "Get up now and leave this fisherman. You will be provided for." He immediately quit the hut, dressed as a fisherman, and wandered about until he came to a highway. As dawn was breaking, he saw a farmer on a donkey on his way to market. "Do you seek work?" asked the farmer. "Because I need a man to help me bring back some purchases." The man followed him, and he worked for the farmer for nearly 2 years, by which time he had learned a great deal about agriculture. One afternoon, when he was baling wool, Kidder appeared to him and said, "Leave that work. Walk to the city of Mosul and use your savings to become a skin merchant." And he obeyed. In Mosul, he became known as a skin merchant plying his trade for 3 years. He had saved quite a large sum of money and was thinking of buying a house when Kidder appeared and said, "Give me your money, walk out of this town as far as the distant Samarkand and work for a grocer there." And the man did so. Presently, he began to show undoubted signs of illumination. He healed the sick. He served his fellow men in the shop. And his knowledge of the mysteries became deeper and deeper. Clerics, philosophers, and others visited him and asked, "Under whom did you study?" "It's difficult to say," said the man. "I jumped into a river and became a fisherman. I walked out of his reed hut in the middle of the night, and after that I became a farmhand. And while I was baling wool, I left and went to Mosul, where I became a skin merchant, and I saved some money there but gave it away. And then I walked to Samarkand, where I worked for a grocer. And this is where I am now." This is where I am now. I followed every step. Each of us in our own way. Through all the unknowns and the mysteries and the trials and challenges and opportunities, with something guiding us that didn't always appear to us at the end of the bed or in that kind of conversation, but we followed our feet. And we followed something that we could not see, but was ever present. And we begin to transfigure. Remember last week I was talking about the transfiguration. We begin to transfigure. We start to move from an old way of being and seeing into an expanded state. Somehow each thing leads to the other, to the other. And where we arrive now is the step and stage of our next opening into an inexplicable life. How did you get from here to there? You say, well, and then he said, and she said, and they said, and I read a book, and then I went from here to there, and then it was just there, and then I did this, and then I did that, and here I am now. You know better than most anybody. Following this something, we grow more and more able to cooperate in the inexplicable nature of all of these pieces that fit together in perfection. And as we become more and more light-born and less earth-bound through our spiritual thinking, we're inspired by any number of things and any number of teachings to step forward again and again and again. And we go through these life stages believing that surely that one was the one that would take us into that illumined state. But then we realize one day we're so much more illumined than we once were. What did we know then? And how have we grown since? What I want to point to is we think we're doing Spirit, but Spirit is doing us. We think we're doing God work, but God's work is doing us. We say, oh, there was this accident and that happenstance, but then there was this person and that thing. And you start to look at them and they weave into who you've become, but more than that, this open-ended possibility of who we can become as we continue the journey. There's not a stop point. The source power does not stop at the point of age or accomplishment. We're told from all the great masters and teachers that, in fact, we didn't begin, nor can we stop. That which has always been is that in which we always live, move, and have being. It's impossible not to be there, no matter what point we're at in our journey. So I love that story because it's the story of Moses, and it's the story of Elijah, and it's the story of Joseph, and it's the story of any of the figures that have had such great influence as metaphors and evidence of ongoing illumination through the experience from one place to another. We have a baby that's born to a woman put in a basket, suddenly becomes a king one day, has an seemingly unfortunate experience, and it ends up leading this whole expansion of life from one state of consciousness into another. It's Moses' story, but it's our story. The revelation was a personal story for him as he walked up the mountainside tending his sheep in the silence of a day. The revelation came to him, not because anyone gave it to him, but because it came through him. And again the voice spoke to him and said, "Do this now." And he did. We often don't hear the voice that said, "Do this now." But there is something in us that's always following the prompts. So as I was exploring bringers of consciousness, the forwarding of consciousness, I'm thinking, how are we forwarding consciousness now? Last week I was talking about Dr. Martin Luther King and the Gandhis and the great ones, the Mandelas of the world, but we're living into unknown states of consciousness ourselves. Every time we traverse from one place or state of mind into another, we light up. I think that's what I said last week. I actually remember that myself. It's like suddenly you move through something in the way that you've seen it, thought it, felt it, lived it. You move into another place. You don't even know how you moved. You say, well, I prayed, I forgave, I did this, I did this. No, you created an environment in which spirit could move. And in the movement of that, for Moses, it was stillness. And along the way, every step of the way, even through the Ten Commandment period of all of that, it was one prompting after another. Jesus talks about the pearl of great price, that a man found the pearl of great price hidden in a so again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant seeking beautiful pearls, who, when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. The pearl of great price is the knowing that you are always on path in the inspiration of what Spirit is leading. And no matter the direction or the course of that, it does not change the fact that you are and have been in the perfect place at the perfect time under the perfect circumstances for the gestation and the birthing into a new expanded space. That's the invitation. That's the promise underneath it all. And that's the great pearl. That's the one we want. The other one was the hidden treasure. And again, the kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field, which a man found and hid. And for joy over it, he goes and sells all that he has and buys that field. It's that moment in time when we are transfigured through this state of awareness that that which is working with us is more powerful than the condition we're facing, the individual, the experience, whatever that might be. That within us is the limitless power. And when I can embrace that and move myself toward it, amazing things happen in my life. Over and over and over and over again. I've been looking at the work of great teachers, the Papaji, who is a little more contemporary than some of the others. Papaji, Punjaji, H-W-L Punja. The book, Wake Up and Roar. Wake up and roar. What does he say from the beginning? You're already free. What does he say? First paragraph, you say, I want help, I want to be free. And he said, it's a joke. You're already free, and what you come to see in that transfiguration moment is that you were free before, during, and after. And in the moment when that lights up in us, we light up in the world. We become a bringer of conscious awareness into the experience of our lives. When that happens, what's the outcome? We don't know. But it's way different than what it was being before in our mind, or in our body, or in our relationship. Ramakrishna, the saint Ramakrishna, 16 years old, he goes into full divine awareness. Didn't want a church, didn't want an ashram, didn't want people hanging out with him. All he wanted was God. All he wanted was the divine. All he wanted was to be left in the solitude of his relationship with the One. Why? Because he knew that that was the only home that would ever mean anything. Years later, and many years later, his mother awakens in his presence, basically. And suddenly he knows in that moment it's time for him to re-enter the world, to let people into the world. What does the story tell me? Because I change everything into something metaphysically based. What does his story do in me? It says, when I put my attention more stridently in the presence, I literally am no longer part of the world of the problem or the distractions of the world, if you will. Because I found the pearl of great price. It's the thing that matters most. What is that? That moment of letting the light dawn. Not because I work so hard, but because Spirit is always at work. In me, everything will transform. Everything will transform. I don't know in what way. I looked at Nisargadatta. I started reading the three great ones that are more precious to me because they really speak to the teachers of our life and time. They were teachers of the teachers that we know, and they were all born and living in the same time that the Fillmores lived, that Emma Curtis Hopkins lived, that Emerson and Thoreau lived, that the great ones lived. There it was over there, here it was over here, and now here it is among us. We say we want something that others have. Or we like something, but we don't like that. The great realization that each one of them had was that there was no separation. The great realization was and is there is no separation. Not on the basis of color, not on the basis of race, not on the basis of country, not on the basis of color, not on the basis of lifestyle. There is no separation. What they each one saw in their own astonishing way was that you couldn't separate wholeness. You couldn't separate oneness. There would be distinct aspects, but the self that resides in you and in me is the same self in an Edgar Cayce, in an Emma Curtis Hopkins. It's the same self. There's no difference. And in that non-separation state, when we come to that realization, it's one of the greatest things we ever come to know. Does it mean I have to like my neighbor? Jesus never said you had to like your neighbor. He never did. He never said it was a popularity contest. He didn't choose all the people to go with him. He chose 12. He thought maybe he could manage 12 before he went mad. Maybe I can count on 12. They seem receptive, he said. But what he saw from was there is no separation. Every great master teacher has taught there is no separation. And that this cosmic consciousness or this divine selfhood or the great Christ I am is not based on color, country, race, creed, Christianity, Buddhism, that it's the big given. But people, a number of years ago, I was in Ohio visiting someone, and I've always had a fascination and a drawing to the Amish people. And so we had a driver and a guide that day taking us into and through Amish country. And I said to him, it seems like there's a really high population of Amish. He said, the thing that you can't see as an outsider is that they've all split into factions, because this one used some implement and that one taught something in this particular way. So they became anathema and outcast, and another group would spring up here. They were already so small in number and identified as being so different than the world in which they live. But when it came down to the fine point of what they believed, better 2 than 100 or 10. Because that's how important it was, that it be a particular way. And that's what's happened down through time with church, with belief, with religion, with all of the ideas, all of the cultures, all the cults, all the various ways of practicing and understanding spirituality, or not spirituality, religion and spirituality. So, this comes from a book called A New Harmony by a man named John Philip Newell. And I don't even know how it came to me. The spirit, the earth, and the human soul. But obviously I've been visiting a lot of ideas the last couple of weeks. The Sufi Muslim tradition of the 99 names of God has much to teach us. It is based on a belief that the true name of the Holy One is the 100th name, but that no one knows that name, for it is unspeakable. I know that from Judaism. That the desire to know the name is the desire to possess. And that the name we entertain is a name that can only be experienced in the heart, our own heart. As we bring our spirituality to a posture of listening, he said, listening to the essential oneness of the universe, placing our ear close to the heart of the earth and the heart of the human soul, what is it we will hear? Julian of Norwich, the 14th century mystic, said that we are not simply made by God, we are made of God. 14th century, illumination, transfiguration. I am not made by God, I am made of God. This simple but radical statement holds enormous implications. It means that we are not fashioned by a distant creator made out of nothing from afar, as it were. Rather, we are born, I love this, from the womb of the one made of the substance of oneness. This is why Julian likes to refer to God as Mother as well as Father, because she sees us and all things as coming forth from the heart of the one, as carrying within ourselves the essence of our source. What does it mean to say that we're made of God rather than simply by God? In part, it is to say that holy wisdom is deep within us, deeper than the ignorance of what we have done. Sacred creativity is at the core of our being, deeper than any barrenness in our lives or relationships. The divine passion for what is just and right is our true heart's desire, deeper than the apathies and falsenesses that have disabled us. And above all else, it is to say, as Julian does, that the love longing of God is at the core of our being, deeper than any fear or hatred that holds us in separation. Holy wisdom is deep within us, deeper than the ignorance of what we've done. Sacred creativity is at the core of our being, deeper than any barrenness in our lives or relationships. The divine passion for what is just and right is our true heart's desire, deeper than the apathies and the falsenesses that have disabled us. And above all else, it is to say, as Julian does, that the love longing of God, the love longing of God is at the core of our being, deeper than any fear or hatred that holds us in separation. The love longing of God at the core of our being, deeper than any sense of separation. Bringing it together, the question that I asked last week is, what fired these people who have been so powerful in our lives as leaders and change agents? What fired them? What fired these transfigurations in their lives that allowed them to become so spoken into being? And what was the common element? The common element was no separation. To heal the gaps of separation for each one of these great ones wasn't just for self. It was a way of seeing the whole in its entirety. I don't want freedom just for me. I want spiritual freedom for everyone. I want the kind of joy for everyone that is at the core of our heartbeat, hidden under all this dross. What is it I want? I want that kind of ability. Even when I'm portioning things out and I don't like this and I don't want that and what about this? Even to be able to see through my own thoughts about things into a realization that somehow it's not up to me to like it. It's up to me to hold a greater space for it, because there's only one presence at work in and through all things, and in and through every choice, and in and through every expression. The reality is we are already granted that kind of freedom. We are already living essence of that light. And we are already in a state of non-separation. And the moment that light bulb goes on for us in a way that brings meaning to our lives, and it doesn't always mean I have to like my neighbor, but I love the wholeness of life, as did brothers who walked before and who saw life from that particular place within them that held a greater truth. Bringers of consciousness, opening door people so that we could step into a place where the world doesn't always match what we see, but is truly and for always a part of the wholeness of life itself. And from that place of non-separation, I can say, it's not my choice, but I believe in the truth of life itself, and the truth that is present in one and the other and all. We're not going to speak the same language. We're not going to see things from the same place, because we have our own way. And what guides us in our way? That divine impulse of life itself. Today I will put my feet in steps that are yet to be known. And the presence is doing the work. And I follow. And I too live an inexplicable life. More next week of this, if you're into it. I've got, not next week, but the following couple weeks after that. Next week I'm speaking at Seattle Unity. Anybody want to come to Seattle and see the new church? Their service is at 10. So if you want to do that, that's where I'll be next week, but I'll be thinking of you here. I give joyfully and easily. For God is my source, and abundance is my nature. Let us speak it together, please. I give joyfully and easily, for God is my source, and abundance is my nature. And so it is. Hey, you. Hi. 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 All right. Who knows the blessing for children? Carol, yeah, you know this blessing. Together, all of you. Now.
Children of light, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you.
Just the way you are. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you just the way you are. Yeah. You're going to the symphony today.
Yeah.
Is that exciting?
Yeah.
Yeah? Are you going to...
Kids Symphony.
A kids symphony seems the best kind for some of us. So you're going to go to the symphony and you're going to see the instruments and you're going to hear the music.
Yeah, do they have an instrument thing? Because I want to play the instrument.
I don't know that they'll let you play those instruments, but you sure can see them. Yeah, for sure. That's Cubby. This is Lily Rose. And you are Ashton. Yeah, Aston? Ashton. With an Ashton. Yeah, got it. All right, let's do this together, everybody. Prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Shall we sing our peace song together, everyone? All you have to do is touch one. It communicates immediately. So everybody have a great week. We'll see you real soon.